Well, President Trump held another Make America Great rally Wednesday night. This was in Erie, Pennsylvania. And this despite criticism that he should have stayed in Washington to monitor the hurricane. That's some of the feedback he had gotten. But the president said he didn't want to disappoint the people who lined up to see him.
I love Pennsylvania. I went to school in this state. Great place, great people. What angered me is Pennsylvania hasn't been won for many years by Republicans. But every Republican thinks they're going to win Pennsylvania. They didn't quite get it, but I got it. It's called The Workers. I got it.
In his new book, The Forgotten, How the People of One Pennsylvania County Elected Donald Trump and Changed America, Ben Bradlee Jr. explains how one particular county in eastern Pennsylvania reflects a new political reality in America. Ben Bradlee Jr. joins us now. He's also a reporter and editor for the Boston Globe. He joins us from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So, Ben, your book focuses on this county, Luzerne. Why did you decide to go there?
Well, I was, like many journalists, shocked that a candidate as unusual as Donald Trump was elected president and wanted to learn more about how it happened. And as you know, the election was really decided in the three Rust Belt swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. But Pennsylvania was the most important of the three. It had the most electoral votes. And Hillary Clinton considered it her firewall. So combing through the vote, I discovered Luzerne County, traditionally Democratic, hadn't voted for a Republican president since 1988. Obama had carried the county twice. And yet it surged in the other direction for Trump. He won it by 20 points, building up such a large margin here that it was 60% of his winning margin of Pennsylvania. So without this one county, he wouldn't have won Pennsylvania or perhaps the presidency, to the extent this state's demographics are similar to Michigan and Wisconsin. So I came here and wanted to use this as a prism to do a deep dive into the Trump vote.
Ben, what do you think the reason is that the folks in Luzerne County chose to vote, you know, those who had voted for President Obama, then decided to vote for Trump?
Well, as one local politician described it here, Obama had hope and change. Trump had knocked down the door and change. These voters were in a mood to throw the table over and break some china. And they took a flyer on Trump, not really knowing what the result would be, but they felt alienated, ignored, forgotten, as in Trump's phrase. He called them the forgotten people, and I took that as the title of my book.
You know, in a Politico article that talks about your book, you claim that you found President Trump's biggest fan. Who is she, and what stood out to you about her?
Well, that was the headline writer saying that, but they don't come any truer blue than this lady, Lynette Villano. And I think what was most interesting about her story is that, you know, this election was so divisive and came between many families and friendships, strained them, if not broke them. And that was Lynette's story. She is an ardent Trump supporter. And the day after the election, she texted her grandson, who was then a senior at Tulane University. And Lynette told her grandson how happy she was that Trump had gotten elected. And he came back at her strong. This was a series of text messages which Lynette shared with me and which I reprinted in the book. And together, if you read them all, they really personify the philosophical divide that exists in this country over Donald Trump. And unfortunately,
Ben, a lot of your reporting comes from 2016, immediately in the wake of the election. When you returned, your return visits to Luzerne County, when you talk to these Trump voters, especially those who were blue, who voted for Obama, do they feel differently 2 years later?
No, they don't. Of the 12 people that I profile in the book, tell their stories in depth, today, 11 of them say that if the election were to be held in the next few weeks, the 2020 election, they would vote enthusiastically to re-elect Trump. Only one of my people has slipped into the undecided category.
And do those people's support of President Trump, does it extend to other Republican candidates? Are there enough voters like Lynette to keep the president and his party in office down the road?
Well, that's the $64,000 question, I suppose.
But the sense from people you talk to,
if I had to guess today, well, I think Lou Barletta, the president came to Pennsylvania last night for Lou Barletta. I think he's facing an uphill struggle against Casey. I'm not sure Trump's coattails will extend far enough to get him over the finish line. It looks to me like the Democrats will take over the House, but the Republicans will likely hold the Senate.
It's a fascinating look. Ben Bradlee Jr., so grateful you could break it all down with us and give us some insight into why these voters voted for President Trump.
Thank you.